What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Alex. I'm back. This is another YouTube video. Alright, people. Today's a Sunday. It's a good Sunday. We got lucky again. This will probably be the last YouTube video for the day. There probably won't be no videos for at least 2 to 3 days. For at least 2 to 3 days on this channel, there won't be too many videos because I have a special project coming up. And then I'm going to focus on sports because I ain't finished with my series on the NFL. So today's YouTube video is going to be called Sex Game, Stop Being Angry. Or should I say, actually going to change it. Actually, I'm going to call it Sex Game, Stop Anger, Self-Improvement. 4 ways on how you can self-improve with your anger. See, I notice here on YouTube, nobody really talks about the math and science of anger. I hear men complaining about, I got rejected by women. I hear men talking about how they got looks, money, and status, or I have game. I talked about that 24 hours ago. Some people like the video. Some people are what they call indecisive. There's a first time for everything. Normally, I usually get some people that like the video. Some people hate the video. First time I got some people that like the video, and then got some people that are kind of indecisive. Indecisive mean they don't know what to really think of the video. They have to look at the video like 4 or 5 times before they can come to their final conclusion if they think the information I gave you was 100% truth or just straight out bullshit. And I'm a guy that always tells the truth. Sometimes you may not like how I tell the truth. Sometimes it might be raw and uncut. Sometimes I sugarcoat. I try to cuss less, use less language. I told you guys I have people who talk to me behind the scenes, and they did call like 3 weeks ago, and they did told me they wanted me to change up my camera, and they told me to dial down on the profanity language. So for those who don't be thinking that I just go unchecked on YouTube, think again, because they do send me notifications, emails, and phone calls in some cases. But we ain't going to talk about all that. Today is how to control your anger. And both, by the way, this video's for both. For men and for women. So I'm not sexist. I'm not biased. I'm not playing favorites. Because normally when I make a video for men, then the women be like, what you saying, buddy? And if I make a video for the women, then the men be like, oh, hell no. So the video's for both. For men and for women. It's for both sexes. Now, you already know how I do. The first half of the video, I talk about the men, and in the second half, you always keep the best of the best. You always save the best for last. So I don't want the women thinking, oh, he left us last on purpose. There's an old saying, save the best for last. This video, again, is not going to really be talking about sex, fellas. So if you don't want to hear no highly educational video, then you might want to click off and go to another channel. This is going to be one of those educational videos. Now, when we get closer to the summer, I will bring back my original content. Right now, it's not time to bring that original content back. We don't want to make some people uncomfortable and uneasy because you bring back stuff that people are not used to, and then what happens is you turn them off and they don't want to watch your YouTube channel. I know some YouTubers that did that recently where they had good content for 6 straight weeks, and then they return back to their original content and nobody watched their original content. So I'm not ready yet to just stop with the new content and jump back to the old content. I have videos for my original content that will make you guys like the videos, but it's not time yet. It's still early. It's May. Mother's Day is coming up. Have some respect. You got to make a video for Mother's Day. So that's why I said it ain't time to bring back the sex and all that. I'll let y'all know when it's time. Right now, it ain't time. The women can tell you it ain't time yet. Okay? Okay, fellas? Stick with me. I'll help you guys out. We'll get back to the original content. Right now is not. Now, a lot of times when a man gets rejected by a woman, now I did talk about it, right? I talked about the trust. But I'm going to talk about the one thing that stops you from getting trust, and that is anger. Now, as you know, anger is the most strongest and most powerful emotion in the universe. Everyone experiences anger in their own way. When people win basketball games, they jump up and down and they're so happy they just want the whole world to know they're happy. And when they lose a basketball game, a football game, they show their emotion, they show the anger. And you have people who, when they come to work, they get called in H&R's office, and they boss tell them, you know what? Um, you ain't doing very good in your work performance, and you need to step it up. You know, you get brought back in the office a second time, and your boss tell you, I told you twice now, you need to step up your work performance. And sometimes the boss get a little upset because the boss expects so much of you, your co-workers, your peers. So sometimes it can be frustrating when you try your best at everything and it seems like nothing is working, nothing is clicking. Now, a lot of times when a man gets rejected by a beautiful, attractive woman, it don't matter if it's black women, white women, Mexican women, Asian, Indian women, younger, old, women in general. When you get rejected by a woman, a lot of times it has nothing to do with your money, your status, your looks, your game, and it has something to do with anger. Anger is the number one thing that destroys friendships. Anger destroys friendships. Anger destroys relationships. Anger is what keeps you from achieving your full potential at 100%. It can cause health problems. There are stories of people that were 100% healthy and then all of a sudden 5 or 10 or 15 years later go by, all of a sudden they got health problems from out of nowhere. And scientists and doctors have now concluded there's proof of evidence that anger is usually the number one culprit that kind of ruins everything. I'm talking about if you always are angry. You know, when you get in the car and somebody tries to run you over out of the street, it's called road rage. That is a form of anger where they're just always angry. Every time you see someone drive from the left lane to the right lane or the right lane to the left lane, somebody trying to run somebody out of the street. They're switching lanes, and then you get a ticket by a traffic cop. See, anger is like a volcano. When it erupts, everyone's gonna feel that anger. Not only that they're gonna see the anger, they're gonna feel the anger. And you see, when you get angry, guess what happens? You take that powerful energy of anger, you take it everywhere. You take it to the movie theater. Now, nobody wants to talk to you at the movie theater. You come up to the concession stand, nobody wants to take your order. Nobody wants to service you food because they can tell that by your body language and your facial expression, you're angry. So nobody wants to talk to you now. So when they see you, they stay away from you. When you go to the park, people take their dog and their cat and they power walk away from you because they can feel the energy of your anger coming from your body language and they see it in your facial expression. Doesn't matter if it's 2 hours or 3 hours or 5 hours later, they can still feel the anger coming from you. So you might have calmed down 5 hours later, but other people can still feel the energy of your anger. You go to the mall, nobody wants to be around you. You go to the bank to get a loan or to cash a check, and again, nobody wants to be around you because you're letting your anger control the situation. When you let the anger control your situation, it controls every situation. You come to work angry, now your boss got to send you home because he can't have you in a working environment and you go off on other employee workers because one little thing ain't going your way. You get thrown out of the nightclub and the bar by security or get escorted out by police because your anger got out of control to the point where you couldn't control your anger. So now we got to bring security, we got to bring in police because you lost control of the situation. And I'm here to help you men and women learn how to keep your anger in check, whether it may be paying bills, whether it may be personal problems at work or at school, and what are the four best ways to combat the situation. So we're going to do them the best way I know how, out of order. I heard they're more fun, they're more exciting, and they're more creative when you do that. Now, let's get with reason number the fourth way on how to do it. Playing sports. Playing sports is the great equalizer. It helps you learn how to talk. It helps you learn how to socialize. So if you're bad at socializing, playing basketball or football at the park will help you. Playing sports like basketball, football, baseball, sports that are team oriented, that will help you play offense and defense. Sports that will challenge your mind, not just physically, but challenge your mind. It will help you make new friends on the basketball court, the football field, and playing baseball. So it doesn't matter if you play basketball, football, or baseball. Any one of those sports, all three of those sports, you'll make a lot of friends. You'll see the difference between somebody who is happy versus somebody that's mad because they lost. And this will teach you how to accept winning and how to accept losing. It's easy to accept winning when you win a basketball game or a football game or a baseball game, but what happens when you lose the basketball game, the football game, the baseball game? You got to learn how to accept losing just like you learn how to accept winning. The sports will help you. Even if you say, well, I don't play basketball, I don't do football, I don't do baseball. Well, you can play soccer. Soccer is a very competitive sport. Swimming is a competitive sport. Those are sports that will actually challenge you on how to get better. So any sport will actually help you. Now, for those who might say, well, I want to do an individual sport, so I'm probably going to change the title of the video and actually say 5 ways instead of 4. So I would probably say that what is reason number 4 is actually now reason number 5 is sports. So it don't matter any sport, basketball, football, baseball, soccer, swimming, tennis, bike riding, anything you can think of that has something to do with helping you control your anger. Playing sports is the best outlet. It's the best equalizer. Because you're going to meet a lot of new people. You're going to make a lot of new friends. You're going to learn how to play offense and defense. You're going to learn how to play positions, how to play your role. And you're going to learn how to be competitive in a winning attitude. You're going to learn what's the difference between a winning attitude versus a losing attitude. And you're going to find out a special secret. You're going to learn that sometimes in sports you can get angry if it is, how should I put it, if the situation calls for it. Now, some people might say, what about sports like boxing and martial arts? Boxing and martial arts is a situation where you've been picked on and bullied, and you can do. I would prefer martial arts, and I'm gonna tell you why martial arts over boxing in this sense. See, martial arts is you're gonna meet a lot of people who are gonna find out that you get angry, and they're gonna tell you what your anger reveals. Like, I'm a martial arts expert. I've been doing martial arts for 14 years, and I've done 10 to 11 styles of martial arts. And in all those styles of martial arts, there was always an 8th degree black belt that could tell who was happy, who was sad, who was mad, and a little bit of both. And they were able to spot out your weaknesses. And a lot of the martial arts teachers told me while I was growing up that your anger reveals who you really are as a person. So when you try to be fake and phony to a girl and then the girl rejects you and you get mad, guess what? Your anger just told the girl why you're mad. So now just imagine what happens if you get mad in front of a group of people. You just, in a way, you kind of told on yourself. So now everybody doesn't want to talk to you. Nobody wants to be around you. And when you get mad and upset, they're going to give you what they call constructive criticism, which is going to show even more why nobody wants to be around you. That's when they get somebody that's in their 30s or in their 40s or 50s to come in and kind of sit down and explain to you, well, when you got mad at Sarah at work, it wasn't Sarah that made you got mad. It was the expectations on the job that made you got mad, and you took it out on Sarah. You know, they try to explain it into a way that you can understand it. Your anger can make a lot of people stay away from you, and not just temporarily. It could be 6 months, it could be 9 months, it could be a year or 2 years that people don't want to be around you because of anger. That's when you hear people say, oh, this man's got anger issues. Oh, this woman has anger issues because there's something happening to them behind the scenes in their personal life, And when they come to work or school, they take their personal problems from work, their personal problems at home to work and school, and it messes up that whole entire environment for everyone. How do I know? I've done it 2 or 3 times in the past. Not at my new job, but when I had my first job and I didn't know how to handle constructive criticism at my first job, I got a nice little taste of what it feels like to have a bad day on a job. Somebody said something, I reacted to it. That's another thing you're going to learn about playing sports. Not to learn how to react to certain stuff. So martial arts is good because martial arts is good at teaching you when to react and when not to react. Boxing, on the other hand, the reason why boxing doesn't help as much is because that intensifies the level of anger to the point where you might accidentally overdo it. So that's why I say martial arts over boxing. Not to say boxing has not helped. There are some people who have done boxing and it has served them well. Next is fitness. Fitness also is very strong and very powerful. Fitness helps you bring out more of your personality. It helps bring out who you are. It takes all those weaknesses and it strengthens them. So you might already have strengths, but then you also have weaknesses as a man and as a woman. And when you go to the gym, it strengthens the weakness. So if you're bad at learning how to work on a machine, you would ask other people. That's another form of communication. It helps. And the better you get at going to the gym, the better you get at what? Controlling your anger. That's why you see a lot of people play basketball at the gym, go to the swimming pool. You see people in the steam room. You see them learning how to condition themselves more fit, more proper. Because anger can lead to heart attacks, strokes, heart disease, because you're always angry. And it's good to get angry when it's necessary, but to just be angry all the time for no apparent reason or for a reason doesn't make it okay to take your anger out on any man or any woman. It's rude, it's disrespectful, it's wrong. If it's not justified, like if somebody try to hit you with their car or run you over or run you out of the street, then you can get upset because someone tried to put your life in danger. So now you have a reason to be upset. Or somebody cut you off, or somebody is switching lanes, then you can be upset. Or if a police officer pulled you over and told you the speed limit is 70 miles per hour and you driving 90 miles per hour, so I'm going to give you a ticket, and that's the second time you got a ticket, you can kind of get a little angry. You don't want to get too angry because if he sees that you're taking constructive criticism and blowing it out of proportion, then that's going to lead to, resist to arrest. That's when people get angry, they're resisting arrest. And the police can say, well, his anger is why I arrested him. Yeah, that happens. So that's 2 down. Now 3. Number 3 is playing music. Sometimes you might have a bad day. It doesn't matter if it's rap music, hip hop, rock and roll, heavy metal, alternative. Whenever I have a bad day, I usually listen to a combination of both. Rock music, heavy metal, alternative, punk rock, hip hop, R&B, any type of music. And the reason why I listen to the music is because it calms me down. It reminds me what is my number one prime objective. Is it to make money or is it to be angry? So I'll listen to songs about making money. Or I'll listen to songs about going to the gym and getting physically fit to calm my nerves down. The more you listen to good classical music or any type of music, it helps you get centered and it helps you get back on track and it reminds you what are you here for. I'm talking about music that actually is helpful. Now, if you listen to music that's violent and destructive, that's not going to help you. So, yeah, coming in at number 2 is learning how to sit down and just talk to a person. It could be a coworker at work, a friend at school, a family member. You can talk to just about anybody, and you can tell them the type of problems that you got, and they can give you suggestions on how you could have done things better. Like whenever I go to the gym and I do some stuff, I'll usually try to find a professional bodybuilder or weightlifter or someone who's been doing it for 15, 20 years to tell me what I did right, what I did wrong, and what I could have done better. and they'll tell me what I could have done better. I try to take the suggestions. Either you take the suggestions or you don't take the suggestions. Sometimes they help, sometimes they don't, but the more you talk, the more you release some of that anger, some of that frustrating anger. Coming in at number one, and this one, I don't expect everyone to 100% accept. I've actually tried it out, and it actually does work, but I don't expect everyone to try this out. Meditation. Meditation, for me, is like the key of life. It keeps you balanced, it keeps you centered, and you learn how to just let go of stuff. You know, when I was taking a health class at Los Angeles City College, my professor told me to close my eyes and count from 1 to 10 and then count from 0 to 10. Like 0, 1, 2, 3, and then count from 10 back to 0. And he would basically say in a loud voice, and he actually did this in class because it was an exercise, and he said, pretend that you're flying. You leave Earth, you go to outer space, and you just fly anywhere. And he tells us in our dream, go to sleep at night and repeat the same process. And he said meditation is like the best thing in the world because for people who have anger issues or anxiety, you might either have anger or anxiety. Meditation does both. It relieves the stress of everything. You're not as angry, you're not as frustrated, and you have more energy and you're more reserved and full of life. So meditation works for both men and female. Now let's talk about strategy goals. Because not even pickup artists and dating coaches even talk about how to self-improve your anger. They don't. You know, they talk about looks, money, and status now. They talk about game, but they don't talk about what happens if anger gets in the way of all those goals. Now let's talk about strategies. Now, this is going to happen to you in the real world. I'm talking about if you're a man or a woman. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You're going to get people that are going to test you. Now, you see how I made the title of the video, right? I can guarantee you 24 hours from now, maybe a month, maybe 5 months from now, maybe a year from now, people will see this video and will say, I'm going to try Alexander Oden. I'm going to find out if he can control his anger or not. And you better rest to believe that there will be some people that will try me. When I was in the martial arts, my martial arts teacher told me the number one causes on how street fights take place. They take place because one person's having a bad day, something bad happened at work or at school or at home, and when they get on the road, whether it's to get something to eat, whether it's to stop at the bank, sometimes you bump into a person, or you're trying to walk across the street and somebody might run you out of the street with their car, and all of a sudden you react to it. And as soon as you react, the person who did the accident wants you to react so they can get power and control in the situation. Now you just surrendered your power to another man. Now you're in a situation where you react. Now he wants to fight you because you reacted to him. Instead of just walking away or just letting it pass, you didn't do it. You might get some people that might say some stuff to you inappropriate, some foul language. They might call you out of your name. And sometimes you have to walk away. Because what most people don't get is when you do engage, maybe 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes after you try to do that, there is a police car just right down the street in that location. And when the police cars drive into the area, they do that because they know somebody's going to do something, and that's why the police cars be there. Even if there's no police, you got to be careful because you don't know who's watching. Someone can just take out their phone and call 911, and there you go. You know, and when the police catch up with you, they're going to ask you, so what caused the incident to happen? Now, the police already know what caused it. It's your anger. But what I'm trying to tell you is there are ways to deal with situations. You know, let's say, for an example, somebody asks you a question and they repeat it over and over and over and over. And it happens. It's life. It's a part of life. It happens at work. It happens at school. And you try your best to answer the question, and then they keep repeating it. And sometimes they already know the answer. They just want to see how you react to giving the answer. There's a right way, and there's a wrong way to answer the question. I'm going to give you a good example of what I'm talking about. Sometimes my dad might randomly just ask me something. Like, I might have took a shower, put on my clothes, I'm getting ready to go to work, and I'll go, wait a minute, I need to talk to you about something. And he might say, well, some people came here yesterday, and they dropped this off, and I don't order this off the internet, and did you order this off the internet? And I'll probably say, well, my younger brother ordered stuff off of Amazon. Well, that's not my question. My question is, did you order it? And depending on how I say yes or no, I guarantee you 99.99%, that's how most arguments in households start. Because most of the time, people want to answer the question so that person can stop asking questions, because you might have to go to work, you might have to go to the gym, you might have to go to school, and you don't want them asking you 20 questions like they're a police officer or an FBI agent, because it gets annoying, right? And they might want you to give them the answer that they're looking for. So if you try to shortcut, that's another thing that leads to an argument, is shortcutting the answer. Because even though you still gave them an answer, what they wanted you to do is give them a direct answer, and instead you just try to think of the quickest answer you can give them, and they get mad because you gave them a shortcut answer because you want them to go away and leave you alone. So you're going to get some people that are going to do. Now we're going to switch from the men and give advice to women. For women, it's fitness and playing sports and talking to people. I'm going to tell you why for women it's sports, fitness, and talking to people. Because a lot of times as a man, we don't understand what women go through. You know, a woman goes to work for 8 hours, 10, 15 hours. When she get off of work, she don't want to see you come walk up to her and say, hi, how you doing? Because she just got off of work. You know, she want to take a shower. You know, she got to do her hair and her nails. She got to get something to eat. She want to go home and get something to sleep. Get something to eat and go to sleep. She don't want to see you pop up and go, hi, how you doing? And then you wonder why you get rejected, because you don't take into consideration a woman worked for 8 hours on a job. She tired. She ain't got the energy. She don't want to be bothered. And you get women who go off because a lot of us men say and do stupid stuff, and then we be trying to figure out what we said or done to make the woman get mad. A lot of times, a woman will respond when she's 100%. But when she's like 50 or 60 or 70%, sometimes you just got to walk away and don't say anything. That's how you avoid arguments, just by not saying or doing anything. Because she may have a bad day, and then you come in there saying what's up, and she may not even want to talk. And then you try to make her talk when she don't want to, and guess what happens? Police come to your house. You know, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you what happens when you do something stupid. You get this. LAPD. Now, police is involved because you took a situation that escalated because you wanted to try to get an answer. Sometimes when you're not getting an answer or an explanation for something, sometimes it's best to just leave certain stuff alone. It's something I had to learn how to do as I got older. It happened to me like about 4 times I did. So when you see someone get upset, sometimes it's not good to just walk in there and say, are you okay? Because even if you say, I'm okay, they still might get mad, because the way you could be saying it could be the way that they react to it. So sometimes if there's already someone saying, are you okay? You don't need to repeat, because repeating, you may not think stuff repeat. It can get repeated and make them go off. So if they have a bad day, you got to wait until they calm down. It might take 2 days, 3 days, might take a week. So I'm giving advice for men and for women. So this is good, positive information. It's not meant to be taken the wrong way. I'm trying to explain, if you're a man and you get put in these predicaments, this is what you do. So when you go to the nightclub and the bar and you get rejected, just remember what I told you in this video, the ways you use to do it. Now, someone might say, what if I didn't start no argument and someone starts the argument? Okay, I've been in that situation, so I can give you the answer to that one. See, when people start arguments, it's because they're bored and they don't have nothing else better to do. Like, if they ain't watching no movies, no television shows, they paid all their bills, they did all their activities, and for some reason they want something to do, they might talk to you not realizing you don't want to be bothered. And sometimes, if they can sense that you're not happy, they will take an advantage of it because why? They see an opportunity for you to surrender what? When you get angry, just remember, as a man or a woman, you are surrendering your power of authority to another person, and then you lose control of the situation. That means if you get pulled over by a police officer, you're supposed to be as calm as you possibly can be. Now, if you get in a situation where a police officer is messing with you, you gotta control your composure, because a cop could have had a bad day, could have got into an argument with his commanding officer. So you don't know what goes on in someone's head. You know, if you go to the bank and they tell you, give me 25 minutes before I cash your check, you may not want to wait no 25, 30, 35 minutes at the bank. They could be having a bad day. It could be a family emergency. You honestly don't know what goes on in someone's head. So when they get upset, you're not supposed to be reactive. People who react because when they get angry, they don't know what else to say or what else to do. So they just do the only thing they know how to do is react off of anger. Then when you calm them down and it's 2 hours or 3 hours or 5 hours later or 3 days later and you ask them what you're mad about, they tell you, and depending on what they tell you, it can either make sense or don't make sense. But when you get people who start the argument, it's usually because they're bored. You could be on the phone talking to someone, and they could just say, well, oh, I'm bored. Man, I talked to you 3 times on the phone. Yeah, I'm bored. And if you hang the phone up in their face, you'll trigger their emotion of anger. So this information goes for both men and for women. Because I know there's going to be some man saying, well, I got rejected 5 times. And when you get mad, you take that energy of anger and you take it someplace else. No one's going to be around you because every time they see you, they'll point out you, don't talk to that guy. He's always mad. He's always angry. He's always doing something that's crazy and destructive. So now you create what they call a stereotype. So now nobody wants to be around you. And then it takes years for you to learn how to get rid of that stereotype. That's why I made the video, because pickup artists and dating coaches, they'll talk about looks, money, and status and game, but what they don't want to talk about is how to self-improve your anger. That's why I told you in yesterday's video, the one thing that stops men and sometimes women from building trust with each other is anger. Anger is one of the keys to bad health, because there's good anger and then there's bad anger. You may not think those don't exist, but they do. And if it's sports, you can, they say, play with some aggression so you can show some level of anger if it's sports. But when you decide to get overly aggressive and go off like the Incredible Hulk, then it's no longer healthy. It's just bad.